Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. Very excited to share with you a special interview that I did with Mr. Mark Green up in Michigan on WAHS 89.5. He interviewed me on a special An Hour of Jazz with a Healthy Twist. So it was a pretty neat show, live on the radio, on his radio station, and then also streaming out there for the world to hear. So I hope you enjoy what we talked about, learn some great health and fitness tips, and enjoy maybe some jazz. See you in a little bit.
Welcome back to An Hour of Jazz with Mark L. Green, the Healthy Twist. And I am happy to have with me tonight my featured guest, health, wellness, fitness expert, Mr. Matt Peel. Welcome to An Hour of Jazz, Matt.
Thank you, Mark. I'm happy to be here today from just outside New Orleans, Louisiana, where we play a lot of jazz, especially during Mardi Gras.
All right. So what's the weather like down there right about now?
Well, today it was sunny, high of around 68 or so. But over the weekend, when I was in my Mardi Gras parade, it felt like Michigan, with the wind chills feeling like 15 degrees as we were standing outside marching in the quarter.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm happy to have you, Matt, and I love to use this platform not only to just play music, but when there's an opportunity to provide some very helpful information to my listeners, I love to do that as well. So,
Great.
Health, wellness, fitness expert. Go ahead and give us a little background about yourself there.
Well, as you said, my name is Matt Peel. I do live in the New Orleans area. I been in fitness since 2008. It's really a second career for me. I have a marketing degree, and life has its twists and turns, as you were talking about in the Healthy Twist. And I guess I found a healthy twist in getting into fitness back then in the Southern California area. Since then, I've worked with clients in Louisiana, where I'm at now, in Mississippi, in California, both virtually and in person. And along the way, I said, there's some other things I wanted to do with fitness. So I became an author, a corrective exercise specialist, and now I'm a sports performance coach and potentially working with, various types of athletes in the future, and just doing my best to get the word out there about, look, it's not, as we age, it's not just about having a six-pack abs anymore and how do we look. Mm-hmm. It's about how are we going to live longer and healthier, not just with our lifespan, but with our health span and having a quality of life as we get older. Like, for example, I would give people a shot like, all right, so if your keys hit the ground, what is that? Is that a detrimental issue in your life? Or can you just bend down and pick them up like nothing's happened and keep it on going? That happens as we age a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it's really how can we function throughout our lives to be fit, happy, and live a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, I want to start off beautiful. Thank you for all that information there. But my first question is, as we know, we're at the start of the year, second month into the new year, and there's a lot of excitement. I see this year in and year out, a lot of excitement of starting that fitness journey, which is fine. But how do we stay motivated? How do you keep people motivated once it gets into the third month of the year, the fourth month?
Right. That's where habits start. We've heard the old adage, takes 30 days to start a new habit. That's actually incorrect. It takes around 62 to 66 days for a new habit to form, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. The more you do something, then the more that can become a habit. So we have all the motivation come through that first week of January, right? In the second week of January, even though we fight through some soreness and aren't feeling our best, but we push through it. And then you're right, we hit the end of January into February, like, man, have I not lost this 35 pounds yet that I'm trying to to take off myself? No, you haven't. The body doesn't quite work that way. So it starts with small things, your small, really daily habits, if possible, that can help you get into a rhythm. Because just like with driving, if y'all remember when you first started driving, right? You think about, let me put my foot on the brake, stop, look around, put the signal on. It was an effort. It was a conscious effort to learn how to drive. It's that same way as we're learning how to exercise. Okay, put the clothes in the bag. How do I now get from the house to work to the gym? And it's a lot of effort. But the more you do it, the less effort it becomes, and it's just part of your lifestyle. So it does really start with small daily habits that then you build like compound interest upon each other, so that now it becomes a habit.
Gotcha. All right. So we've been having conversation, but I also let the listeners know that you are an author. You have a book that you wrote entitled "The Athlete in the Game of Life," and you give some great points in that book about those that sit at desks and work. So can you share some exercise and some of the problems that can be created doing that type of work?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. I wrote The Athlete in the Game of Life when the pandemic happened, and I became an corrective exercise specialist then. And it was from the foundations of us sitting more every day. You couldn't go into work, so people are sitting on their couches, they're sitting on their beds, they're sitting at their dining room tables, they're sitting in places that were not meant to be sat in for 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day while you're online. So in the past, we could, before that, you at least walk to your car, get in your car, or get on train, drive or ride into work, get out a little bit. But then we came stuck inside, and then chronic pain seemed to be more of an issue. And in talking to my friends and my family, and then even from my clients, and seeing how their body has repositioned itself in what's something called remodeling. So you have low back pain, the number one pain in America. You have neck pain as we're leaning over into our devices, and a whole new term called tech neck, or forward head position, as we're staring down, looking at our devices every single day. And our bodies remodel that, and we end up hunching over more. And so our muscles are not working correctly. So if you think of a joint, it's got two sides of a joint. One side becomes really tight, like your quadriceps when you're sitting down, or your hip flexors, because they're constantly on, if we think of it from that standpoint. And then you have the other side of a joint that becomes really weak because it's off, and that's your hamstrings. Unfortunately, we think we just need to stretch our hamstrings all day, and that's going to help us. But it's really the flip. We need to strengthen our hamstrings. We need to strengthen our glutes. We need to strengthen our lower back. We need to stretch our hip flexors, stretch our quadriceps, stretch our abdominals. So everybody says, man, I want that six-pack abs. I want to get out and be beach ready. That's why we have these resolutions, right? So be beach ready. Maybe not when it's 0 degrees outside of Michigan, but in some other areas of the country where it's not quite 0 degrees, they're trying to get beach ready already.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, doing sit-ups and crunches after you're sitting all day just makes the problem worse, because you're contracting a muscle that's already overly contracted and pulling your low back out of whack. So what we really want to do are do things like planks, lengthen your body, push-ups. That's really just a moving plank, isn't it? To be in proper push-up form. So those are types of exercises we really want to do to strengthen our core, because your core, everybody hears that's the trendy word, right? My core. I got to build my core. I want my core super strong. Well, what is your core in the first place? Your cores are any muscles that attach to your pelvis, your scapula, your shoulder blades, and your spine. That's a lot more than just your quote-unquote six-pack ab muscles.
Right. Gotcha.
Right? So your core encompasses all of those things. So those are all the muscles we really got to focus on strengthening, not just let me do 1,000 sit-ups till I puke. Right? That never works for anybody, and then you can't even get out of bed, and things just go downhill from there.
Great. This my featured guest once again. Well, you are an artist in your own way. You're
Thank you.
the art of exercise and healthy knowledge and everything. So welcome back.
I'm a sporty spice. I'm a sporty spice, not arts and crafts spice, but sporty spice.
Matt Peel. So we were talking about the importance of push-ups. You covered that, but also we want to talk about weightlifting, and you want to talk about the myth about weightlifting, lifting heavy weights.
Yes, big time. So push-ups are great, as I talked about. I try to do 100 push-ups a day myself, in addition to doing some pull-ups every day. But what you were talking, as the music was saying, about you didn't want to, and a lot of people have the same thought, and I will say especially on the female end, of I don't want to lift weights. Or don't want to lift heavy weights. I just want to do cardio. Well, cardio is great, and it's important for your cardiovascular system, of course, which is also an important sign for your longevity and health span. But in order for us to increase our bone density, work on things so like we don't fall, a little bit of agility, coordination, be able to say open up that spaghetti jar, on your own, we need to lift weights. And ladies, you're not going to turn into a man just because you lift more than 5-pound dumbbells. I guarantee you, I've never seen in the gym where a genie comes out and goes, poof, ma'am, you're now a man because you picked up the 25-pound dumbbells, right? It doesn't happen that way. So when we're talking lifting heavy, we're talking going down to like, say, 8 to 10 reps for a set. Now, what does that mean? Does it still mean pick up the 5-pound dumbbells and do them 10 times? No, it doesn't. It means when you get to 8 or 10, you really can't do more than 1 or 2. So if that means, well, then that's 25-pound dumbbell, that's what I call appropriate to get to that 8 or 10 level, then that's the weight you're going to use. Yes, I have a number of female clients who look at me and go, oh, man, this is heavy. It's so hard. I don't know if I can do this. Well, get down there and let me see. And they do. And they're doing bench press with 30-pound dumbbells in their hand. And then they look at me with that chagrin like, all right, you're right. You're right. I can do it. Of course you can do it. But even on the men's side, same thing, though. We have to lift appropriately heavy weights, and that's the best way we can do to build bone density. In fact, the CDC says that you need to have resistance training at least 2 days per week. That's minimum. That's not maximum. That's minimum. So the science is out there that, yes, ladies, gentlemen, we got to lift some weights, and a little bit heavier maybe than what you were thinking beforehand.
Now, what about individuals that struggle with doing push-ups? I find that some people, it's a challenge to do a few push-ups, and you have to start off where doing the amount that you can do. So what is some tips to get yourself prepared and conditioned to do push-ups?
Well, let's regress. Right, we'll take a few steps back in time. Right, if you can't do a regular push-up, how about bent knee push-ups? If that's still tough, how about doing some push-ups on your kitchen counter or your bathroom counter? If that's still tough, do them against the wall, right? And then you can progress yourself back. So if you can crank out, say, 15 push-ups in a row in whatever of those progressions that I told you, like, go to the next one. If you can knock out 15 push-ups on the wall with ease, jump to your kitchen counter. Try to knock out 15 there. If that's easy, jump down and do them on your knees. If that's easy, go for the regular push-ups. But you just got to do them and do them and do them and do them. So what else does a push-up work besides from your chest? It works the front of your shoulders. It works your triceps. It works your lower back. It works the core muscles, as we talked about. So it's more also, even into your legs, to be able to keep your legs straight. So push-ups are really great exercise. As I kind of joke, prison workouts never go out of style,
Right.
right? Push-ups and pull-ups and push-ups and pull-ups. And when you're done with that, hey, how about some more push-ups and pull-ups? They work every day, 365 days a year, even 366 in leap year.
All right. We were just speaking about the consumption, the food consumption. And, I was sharing my experience with you of how at the beginning of 2021, I weighed my highest weight ever, which was 220. And it was, I was working out. I had been working out all these years, walking and lifting weights, but I put on this weight and I couldn't seem to shake it. And it wasn't until then is when I realized that it was what I was eating, my food choices and my consumption. So in order, I hear people say they want to do, lose weight, exercising, but I want you to go ahead and speak about the nutrition and the choices. And my thing was the ice cream. I was just sharing with you. I would go to the store and I would get me the whatever flavor I wanted, take it home, and wind up eating the whole carton over time. So I had to break up with the ice cream and get myself together. But can you go ahead and share a little bit about the nutrition and the health choices?
Absolutely. And you're right. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. Back to that six-pack abs, they are made in the kitchen. And as you said, it is all about the eating. Oh, back in 2014, I did a bodybuilding contest, my first and only, and will never do it again. So I had to go through weight loss in a sense, and what it's like to adjust your eating, what it's like to change your eating habits and your lifestyle. And it was hellish. I don't really wish that on anyone. But as far as what you eat is also an energy source. I think that's maybe something we need to kind of change our mindset on.
Mm-hmm.
It's our energy source. And fat is just stored energy. The old thing, energy can either be created or destroyed, right? It just changes forms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's formed in food. So we eat that food. If we're not going to use that energy, what's it stored as? Adipose tissue or fat. That's just stored energy. So then what we have to do is drop back on that intake, like you said, because we got a bunch of intake right around our belt, right around our waist.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to then make the body use that stored energy, which is in how we lose weight. So yes, it is a math equation. Math is hard. I get it. That's why I only have to count to 15 and I got into fitness. So learning that aspect of it, what is your resting metabolic rate? And you can go to different places and get that wherever you're listening. But that's really kind of the key, is figuring out what is my resting metabolic rate, and that's how many calories you're going to use just at rest on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then manage your calories around that. So if we got a second, I'll kind of give a little breakdown of what certain foods are for calories.
Go ahead and give us some of your knowledge to close this hour out.
All right. So as we're talking before, I'll give a quick rundown on some numbers as we talk about eating, and that regards to calories. So carbohydrates, which everybody thinks is the evil empire. Carbohydrates, all carbohydrates, whether it's a piece of bread, kale, or an apple, are all 4 calories per gram.
Mm-hmm.
Protein, regardless if it's chicken, fish, steak, lamb, whatever, is 4 calories per gram. All right. Fat, that's what people also think is kind of evil empire, and sometimes it is. Fat is 9 calories per gram, whether it's olive oil or in ice cream. It's still 9 calories per gram. And our good friend alcohol that we enjoy so much down here in the New Orleans area is 7 calories per gram, whether it's beer, vodka, wine, whiskey, it doesn't matter. The old adage, oh, it's vodka, it don't have any calories. False. Vodka has calories.
Mm.
So do some of that math, and you'll kind of see, what am I eating? And then multiply that out. Obviously, math as hard as we talked about. I only count to 15. But besides that, that's how everything is based around. 4 calories per gram for proteins and carbs, 9 calories per gram for fat, 7 calories per gram for alcohol.
All right. Well, hey, well, listen, I thank you for joining me tonight, Matt.
You're welcome.
Pill.
Thank you.
And yeah, just keep doing great things. And we were speaking about how we connected a few years ago on LinkedIn, and you started following me with the America Let's Exercise song and movement, and then I followed you back, and so we've been connected for quite a while. This is our first time actually speaking.
Right.
But yeah, we never knew that this day would come where we would actually connect and support one another, you know, in this type of platform. So I thank you so much. And your book again?
My book is The Athlete in the Game of Life. It's available on Amazon.
All right.
Or you can go to my website, mattpeel.com, and it'll link to Amazon from there, and you can order that.
All right.
You can also find me on Facebook at Athlete in the Game of Life. You can follow me on Instagram, Matt Peel, CES. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And I just started up a TikTok called Strengthen at Your Desk.
All right. Well, thank you once again for joining me on An Hour of Jazz with a healthy twist tonight. All right. Well, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to get ready to play my final selection for this evening. This is Move On Up, Kirk Whalum.
So I hope you enjoyed An Hour of Jazz with a healthy twist with my friend Mark Green up there in Michigan. Stay tuned next time for the next episode of the Peel Appeal podcast, and I hope you have an amazing day.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.